Think you've heard it all? Get ready for some mind-blowing facts that will challenge everything you know. Even if you hate trivia, these mind-blowing facts that even skeptics can't ignore. That time a pacemaker took the stand. In 2016, Ross Compton claimed he made a daring escape from his burning home in Ohio. According to him, he packed his belongings, broke a window with his cane, and tossed heavy items outside before climbing to safety. Investigators, however, weren't convinced. So they turned to an unexpected witness, Compton's pacemaker. With a warrant, they analyzed its data, including heart rate and rhythm during the alleged escape. And the pacemaker told a very different story. Compton's arson scheme was exposed, leading to charges of insurance fraud and arson. The woman who sued God. When Betty Penrose's Arizona home was struck by lightning in 1969, she decided someone had to pay. But who do you sue for an act of God? Well, God, of course, with help from her lawyer. Penrose filed a case in California and asked for $100,000 in damages. Their argument was that God controlled the universe, including Arizona's weather. Because of the recent transfer of an unrelated property to God's legal ownership, the case actually went to court. If God could own property, he could be sued. Penrose actually won the case, but as you might expect, collecting her judgment was an entirely different story. The chocolate bloodhounds of Berkeley. It's hard to picture someone crawling on all fours to sniff out a chocolate bar, but in 2007, that's exactly what neuroscientists at UC Berkeley had their students do. Because why not? Researchers soaked a rope in chocolate scent, dragged it in a zigzag pattern, and had students wear earmuffs and blindfolds to ensure they relied solely on their sense of smell. The study later confirmed the obvious were terrible sniffer dogs, but also the surprising. After practicing for a few weeks, we get better at it. So yes, if you were wondering, our senses can adapt pretty quickly when there's chocolate involved. Why we call them bloomers. Have you ever wondered why old-timey, baggy knickers are called bloomers? They were named after Amelia J. Bloomer, a 19th century women's rights activist. Part of Bloomer's reform efforts focus on freeing women from the heavy, restrictive clothing of the time. She introduced an outfit that combined loose trousers with shorter skirt, which, unsurprisingly, the press mocked relentlessly. Before long, the unconventional getup became known as the bloomer. Luckily for women everywhere, the outfit didn't last, but the name stuck, and bloomers eventually became the go-to term for baggy undergarments. Early contacts were a total nightmare. Contacts have been around for much longer than you think. In fact, the first versions were created in the 1800s, long before plastic was widely available. But here's the ouch part. They were made of glass, and since these early lenses couldn't be shaped to fit just the iris, they had to cover the entire eye. The constant discomfort was so severe that people often used cocaine, eye drops to numb the pain. Thankfully, advancements in materials eventually made contacts thinner and more wearable. Until then, though, everyone brave enough to tolerate glass contacts really suffered for the sake of innovation. How to catch a unicorn. I'm not sure if you believe in unicorns, but the ancients sure did. And despite the horse-like gentle nature we ascribe to them today, ancient historians believed they were fierce and untamable. Pliny the Elder even believed it was impossible to capture one alive. However, Isidore of Seville disagreed. He suggested a unique strategy, using a virgin. According to him, if a maiden stood before the unicorn and bared her chest, the creature would become calm, resting its head on her lap and suckling until it fell asleep. Once the unicorn was sleeping, hunters could attack. Say what you will about ancient tactics. This one is as imaginative as the creature itself. The useless tendon evolution forgot. Sometimes, evolution leaves us with odd leftovers, like the palmaris longus tendon in your wrist. To check if you have it, touch your thumb and pinky together, then tilt your hand. See a line pop up in the middle? Congrats, you've got it. If not, you're among the 10 to 15% of people born without it. This tendon connects to a muscle but doesn't strengthen your grip. These days, its only use is as a spare part for plastic and reconstructive surgery. Scientists believe it a relic from when our forearms played a bigger role in movement. While we don't need them anymore, they are still useful for repairs. The Christmas-less years. In 1659, Puritans in New England and England canceled Christmas, declaring a sinful pagan holiday. Their strict interpretation of Christianity meant no trees, no decorations, and definitely no mince pies. To make sure no one sneaked in a celebration, businesses were required to stay open on Christmas Day. Town criers even roamed the streets, sternly reminding folks, there will be no Christmas tomorrow. Christmas made its comeback in England by 1660, but New England didn't follow suit until 1681. The fungi that feed on radiation. As Jeff Goldblum might say, life, finds a way. Even in the aftermath of one of the worst nuclear disasters in history, black fungi has been discovered to be thriving inside the highly radioactive power plant at Chernobyl. When studied in labs, these fungi displayed a bizarre trait. They grew faster when exposed to radiation, almost as if they wanted it. The secret lies in their pigment, melanin, which absorbs gamma radiation and converts it into energy. Interestingly, since humans have melanin too, it could mean that, on a much smaller scale, we could be eating radiation too, just not as efficiently as our fungal friends. Babies know right from wrong. Babies might not look like moral philosophers, but researchers at Yale University believe they're born with a basic sense of right and wrong, and they've got the puppets to prove it. In one study, babies watched puppet shows where some puppets performed good deeds while others acted badly. When offered the puppets afterward, 8 out of 10 babies chose the good ones. In another experiment, treats were placed beside the puppets, and babies were allowed to take them away. Most chose to punish the bad puppets by swiping their treats. So, the next time a baby looks at you funny, maybe take a moment to reflect. Still think facts are boring? These unexpected truths prove reality is stranger than fiction. Hit like, subscribe, and let us know which fact shocked you the most.